G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be looking at Caulfield and we're going to look at a little bit at Randwick. This is all powered by puntingform.com.au sectional data. It's the database that we all use and you could easily use. It's the best way you're ever going to get to grow yourself in the game if that's what you want. We're going to look at the betting. We're going to do that via Betfair Live, which is basically in the last 5 minutes where the truth is The truth comes out in the market, and there was some really interesting moves at Caulfield on Saturday as we dealt with what was a severely on-pace bias deck. The track was a disgrace, and to quote some senior riders and trainers, the track is fucked. So you won't hear about it anywhere else, and I'm not bluing about it, and please don't come at me with all like, oh, you should be grateful we're still racing. I am very grateful we're still racing, but don't confuse anything. We're not still racing for my benefit or for yours. It's for each and every person's benefit. Money talks. Everyone keeps their jobs, which is great, but everyone's who's keeping us going is keeping their jobs going too. So whilst I'm grateful, it doesn't mean we're going to sit here and just pretend that everything's perfect. The track was a disgrace. No one talks about it, and I'm not bluing about that. I'm bluing about them. They don't talk about it, Peter. I'm not bluing about the track. I love the track. We won on Saturday. We had one good bet from the movers, which won like huge ROI. I love it when we get these on-pace, bias, laney highway tracks. It's beautiful. The market at the moment is fascinating. Like how Ancestry, the one bet we had on the day was in race 5. It was Ancestry. And if you look at that race, they went only 3.1 to the 6 about fast. So it's fast for the grade, but they didn't fly. On an on-pace, severe on-pace bias day, this is race 5. Everyone's onto it. This thing's always going to lead or be right there or thereabouts. And it was $6 out to $7.50 late. I sent out a bet with 5 minutes to go at $6, thinking this thing's surely going to crunch because it's going to get every possible. And no, it drifted. So we took unders, but we backed the winner. What did you make what the market did here?
It was really bizarre just watching it. So in the last half hour of betting, it's hit a low of $6.40, hit a high of $8.40, and then closed off at around that $7.60 mark. But it really made no sense. It was as if someone or the big syndicates were opposing it because they thought Sartorial Splendor would lead, and it kind of did, but it didn't cross. And that was the key thing. You needed to be rails and you needed to be forward. So Ancestry was just basically sitting there smoking the pipe and was never in any real danger.
It's a really good ride by Ben Thompson. Jay Carr copped a bit of grief from the channels I'm in for her ride on Sartorial Splendor. If I was on it, I think, which is, it's hard to say because I wasn't, but I thought she rode it pretty well. You wouldn't want her digging up more than she did just to cross.
Yeah.
Like the horse got killed, lost by 8.9 lengths. I don't think being in lane 3 as opposed to lane 1 cost it 8.9 lengths.
No, I think that's fair.
So, I don't know what you want to do. I think they sort of looked at each other, Ben Thompson and Jay Carr, and Benny he just eyeballed her and said, listen, Toots, if you want to roll across and take me on, I'll go ya. And they both sort of just had a little truce. And Ben Thompson got every possible, kicked away and absolutely killed him. It's a fat race. That's a fat race. Now, Knowles. We backed Knowles to win its maiden at Ballarat 2 weeks ago, possibly, off a really strong trial. I thought it was way too short in this market, and it's run up to its market price. It was a proper run. It's a nice horse. You can follow Knowles. Defiant Dancer was top of my head. It could be the worst ride on the day, and no surprises, Luke Nolan. You're on a horse that's got some tactical speed, drawn barrier
3, I think it was.
Barrier 3, or you're definitely drawn inside. So you've taken every box. You've got a horse with tactical speed. You're drawn inside, which is what you needed to be on Saturday at Caulfield. You've somehow ended up 4-3 back the fence, buried. From where it was, Defiant Dancer was enormous. I think it'll be winning next start. Stokes is flying, plays against horses beautifully. Defiant Dancer definitely a horse to follow. And the other horse out of the race is Broadway in 4th. I don't believe Smart Missiles are at their most deadly on a heavy deck. This horse did everything it could given its position in run, and I don't think Mitch Friedman sort of winds him up too early in a preparation. I think this horse is spot on to do something pretty special this preparation. I reckon it's one of the most exciting horses out of the meeting, Broadway and fourth. Anything else from you, Peter?
No, not from that race. Should we have a look at race 6 next?
Yep.
Diamond Effort. Look, class-wise...
What an effort. What an effort.
Geez, few nervous moments if you're on it. But look, very slow for the class, 5.7 lengths slow to the 600. But Diamond Effort to chase down Ashlaw, who was completely suited given the way the day was panning out. That's, for me, one of the runs of the meeting.
I thought a couple of things here. Clinton McDonald is an elite operator. This is a proper preparation from him with Diamond Effort. Just sustained excellence from the horse, perfect placement. Great ride. Ben Mellum sat off the suicide, or looked like suicide tempo on the day. So at the time you thought great ride, and he knew what he was doing. He got the horse out in time, beautiful effort, and finally the horse. It's bled both nozzies.
Yeah.
Which I've seen a few times, but not from a horse that stuck its head out like this and kept going. Like, this is a proper beast. It's recorded a 6.2 close.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. 3 months' time when this thing's back, punters, it'll probably put another 4 in a row together. This is a lovely horse. I love the cut out of the ground. Big effort. Out of the race, Peter. You probably have to cut that. I apologise. But that's hopefully the only thing I have to cut in this whole show. I'm trying to keep it clean. More Than Exceed. Huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Big run. Put it in your black book, punters. It's ready to win a race this start or next. Really, really good effort. 3.1, 6 to the 4, 1.6 fast from the 4 to the 2, and then really got into its work there with a big 5 of a close. Clocked the second, the first, the second, and the second of the race. Really, really nice performance. And I thought Fine Dane, been up a little while, great parader, had no favours at all, was literally almost in the car park in the run, and still looked like it might win. It's a big, big run. Proper horse. Just needs to find the right race for it, but Fine Dane's flying. Miss Ayano, I thought, was pretty flat.
Yep.
In run, you sort of thought, oh, shit, here it is. Willow sort of put it right in that spot. The deepest thinker in racing. It was a great ride.
Yeah,
it was a bit
10,
plain,
yeah.
I thought. Malibu Style, don't know what to do. Innkeeper, I thought, had every possible. And Parsifal, just sort of a pass mark, slight forgive. Don't want to judge it too harshly. I thought the ride wasn't sweet, but not a lot she could do when they all sort of charged.
Very good. One more at Caulfield, I think. Race 4.
Yeah, race 4 is a hot race.
Yeah.
Beautiful little race. 3-year-old fillies. This is our bread and butter, and absolutely slaughtered this as a betting advice for our punters at home, which I apologise for. Again, I anticipated Oasis Girl would sit sort of 3 and 4 wide. I didn't expect D Thornton to be so strong and positive. I anticipated Ollie would be strong and positive with Under My Spell, and he was the opposite. We ended up backing Under My Spell at huge odds, and we backed Sophia's Choice for Robert Kingston and D Duns. I thought it'd get run of the race. I thought it sort of did. It was a little bit plain. Now, Oasis Girl, I actually marked favourite before the sort of track bias sort of eventuated, and I didn't think we'd lead. So I was not sweet mentally when this thing just won. It's one of the bigger bet regrets I've had in recent times. Just not to have something on it at $18. Like, fucking idiot. Under My Spell is a beast. It's a really nice horse. I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of aim a bit too high straight away. Typical of the yard, but it was really, really impressive what it did versus the pattern on the day. Don't Tell the Boss can be backed next start if it finds a suitable race. Sensation's got good ability, and it brings that strong formula on that Broadway and fourth, sort of Charlize. There's all those sort of nice 3-year-old fillies that came through at the same time. It's a horse with decent ability. And I think the horse to follow definitely out of this race, next start, just bet, is Beauty Bolt. Probably the horse to follow from the meeting. This thing hemorrhaged and was so firm. All the smarts are with it. By the way, the market was moving. It's got the good SP profile, had absolutely none in run. Got through the line really, really nicely. I think inside the race, it clocked the fastest last 200 metres of the race and the third fastest last everything in this race. Really, really nice performance from Beauty Bolt. Okay, punters, we're going to head to Royal Randwick, where the track was rated a heavy something, but I'm pretty sure it was a soft something. Peter, thoughts?
Oh, look, it was a heavy 8. According to what we've got in the official figures, so to speak. I'm not getting too bogged down in how wet the track was. But what was more important was the fact that there was a pretty strong west-northwesterly. And what that meant was that if you settled on the rails, looking at some of the shorter distances under 1600, using the Punting Form analytics, 6 of the 7 winners settled on the rails. So there was about a 1 to 1.5 length advantage to be rails and run. In the straight, there was a 1 to 1.5 length advantage being in the first 4 lanes in the straight. And it wasn't really until Nettoyer found that really wide lane out past 12 that we managed to see some of the better ground out there. But only 10 runners got there on the day. So it was pretty uncommon. It just means there's a heap of runners that weren't suited versus the rest of the card. And I guess they're the ones we're going to be looking at. But we'll start with
I think if you look at the TJ Smith, Pete, it kind of backs up your view with fact via the puntingform.com.au review facilities they've got. Is that a right word? Don't know. Who cares? Go to the Punting Form website. You can deep dive it in the meeting. You look at the first 3 horses across the line in the TJ Smith, and you can look at their position versus their wides. So the first 3 horses were basically rails in run.
Yep.
Until the finish. The best of the others was Pirata, who unfortunately we were fucking on. But
yeah.
Also we're on in all ups each way. So thank you for running fourth. It was on at 10s, started 6s.
Yep.
Should we talk about it as a betting go? Was it the best backed horse in the TJ Smith?
Yeah, it was for the most part. Although Loving Gabby was really, really firm late. It came into low of $6-7 or so at the death after being $9.50 half an hour before the jump. That was good sustained support for that horse. But Pirata was the one. And I guess the interesting thing with both of those gallopers is it was quite exposed by that stage of the day that if you were too wide in the straight, it was just really difficult making up that ground. And nonetheless, Pirata's jumped at $5.50. So, look, it's a good sustained blow. No joy for us. Unfortunately, it's another Pathways horse that's gone down after we've identified it early.
So it's disappointing, but one thing that's fascinating out of this race is a bunch of these horses have regressed like by four plus lengths from their previous start. I suppose that's done by the lack of early tempo.
Yeah, for sure.
Even the winner, Nature Strip's gone from a 17.8, which is enormous, back to a 13.4. So they sort of like let the horse get away with murder at the start. And if he's sweet and he's on song, which he is sort of, I'd say 3 and 5 times he runs, or 3 and 4 times he runs, he's not going to get caught. And that was what happened.
Yeah, exactly right. Look, Bivouac was interesting as well. It was pretty short. The SP is pretty solid as well, but it just got into an awful position in run from gate 6. It's ended up being basically last on the outside. It was in the good ground late, but the split it ran from the 400 to the 200. I think if Bivouac turns up anywhere next start, you'd imagine it'd go to the all-aged.
I've never seen a figure that big, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it'll want to, because it hasn't gone that slowly to the 600. So everyone loves to just like give Hugh a quick little backhander. This is it. The last time I went this slow was on the 31st of August in 2019 at Rose Hill, where it went 4.3 slow. It went 2.9 slow to the 6 here. Like
it was, completely unsuited
awful.
For the most part. It just, you can follow it again. If you liked it and you backed it on Saturday, follow up with Bivouac because the horse is going well. The other horse that I thought out of the race to follow, and again, you'll probably get a decent price in the all-aged if they go there, is Tefane.
Flying.
It's absolutely flying. Again, huge splits late. It was right out into those wide lanes, but the horse as well was 3 wide without cover at the rear of the field. It lost ground on the turn, really came from nowhere, and we'll probably get around that 20-1 mark once more. So although we back Pirata in this race, I would rather go with Bivouac and Tefane over at next start, just given that the runs they had and the splits they were able to record. I think I'll just give them the slight lean over Pirata.
Yeah, and again, Tofane's a horse that went way slower. It's the slowest that's gone this preparation to the 600.
Yeah, and you watch the actual first 100 or 200, it actually jumped really well. It was just ease, just seemed to lose ground throughout the run, so it wasn't suited for mine. Nature Strip, he's what he is. If he gets the right race shape up front, he's incredibly hard to get past, and did it
And I
once
see
again.
they might want to retire Red Zell.
Yeah, I thought he ran pretty well. I mean, he was suited by rails and run, but he hasn't done anything wrong so far this prep. But I'll
I'm
side
pretty
with
sure the people behind this horse tried to sell the trophy, so I highly doubt they're going to retire a sound racehorse. But we'll see what happens.
yeah, I'll side with the trainers. I think at all times. We'll go to the Donny because it was a cracking race on paper. In the end, it was probably a little bit ho-hum as a spectacle. They've gone fast early for the class, but then they've slowed right down from the 1,000 to the 800, and that's created a bit of a backwash through the field. Melody Bell, I thought, was just absolutely phenomenal. 4 wide without cover the entire trip. If you actually break down the Punting Form splits, the rank of the splits in the race, Melody Bell's run the 7th fastest 800 to 600. Then it's dropped to the 17th fastest 600 to 400. It's then gone and accelerated to the 2nd fastest 400 to 200. It's just an enormous split, the 400 to 200, and it's just peaked late. She's only gone down by 1.5 lengths. I'll have to back her next week in the Queen Elizabeth. I know there's a couple of spook horses. There's a bit of a rain forecast on Wednesday. May it be monsoonal. I'll be following Melody Bell into the Queen Elizabeth at double figure odds.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it was an awful watch if you were on, which I was. There was some awful riding up there on Saturday. The Derby was like just an absolute fucking shit fight. Some of the worst panicked riding I've ever seen in my life. They are the elite riders in the country and therefore probably the world, and they all shit their pants, which is why this game is just so hard. Like, they're humans. They're not going to get it right all the time.
Yep.
And so it's even harder to win betting on them doing what you think they'll do. But, geez, that was bad. Nash on fucking Mama Gear or whatever it's called from barrier 2, and he was 15 wide on the corner. Unbelievably poor. And then Nash, as happens, because he's a superstar, pulls out a perfect ride on Rubo Saki and kills him in the last. So, yeah, just torture. I thought Super Seth, I think they've stuffed his preparation up.
It seems a bit random in hindsight, doesn't it?
Oh, he's had the perfect run here.
Yeah.
Rails and run. He got out. He had a beautiful little look.
Yep.
Didn't let down. Went the wrong way, pulled the wrong rein, whatever you want to call it. Thought Rob's horse, Yulong Prince, was given an absolute peach by the gun.
Yeah, perfect run.
Was just a bit plain. No excuses for it. I think if you want to follow a horse out of the race, like Pete's saying, you want to be on those horses like Melody Bell that were covering a lot more ground and were in the inferior ground.
I thought Colding was okay.
Improved on his Sydney leg, didn't he?
Yeah, certainly did. And was restrained. There was just a little snick early after jumping well. I thought he was okay. Cascadian didn't have any real room in the straight, but it was only sort of okay splits, I think, for the most part. Star of the Seas went really well along the inside. Bit of late money for that horse. Outside of that, Shared Ambition was really pretty plain, to be honest. It was being scrubbed along early and just seemed to be suited the way the day panned out. So, a bit disappointing.
Fair play to him, though. Like, the horse profiled like you needed to have a good crack at a good race. I think it was like fair enough what they did. But yeah, every possible drawn perfectly. Got the good run, I thought, for it and plain.
Probably just the other horse that no one's actually mentioned, I think, in the wash-up of this race is Kingswood Dream. It's gone really well again. Really well. Yeah, absolutely flying. So, again, it would be a sneaky chance wherever he turns up if he has one more crack this prep. So, look, really deep race. I haven't even mentioned
You'd assume it's the Queen Elizabeth, wouldn't you?
Yeah, look, I'd say so. Wait for Age, probably better suited.
Ooh.
And look, Nettoyer, good luck to the horse next week in the see if it backs up from the hangover.
Well, yeah. And good luck to how you handle this as a betting proposition. It improved its overall figure by 16.7 lengths from 2 weeks ago at Rose Hill. So, whatever pizza it's eating, I want to get some of it. Its previous peak was an 11, which it did do third up last preparation at Randwick over 600 metres. So there you go. There's an angle to finding it, actually.
Pattern.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Peter, we should talk about, or we'll call it and get on to pathways, brah?
Yeah, exactly right.